Hello everybody. Today our guest is Sviatoslav Dubiansky, and we are going to speak about Kriya Yoga. Also, I would like to introduce Sviatoslav. He is author of the books devoted to Vedic culture. He is a painter and master of Kriya Yoga. So, hello Sviatoslav.
Hi.
And my questions for you, could you tell us please about history of Kriya Yoga and what is the benefits of the Kriya Yoga?
First of all, I want to say that the Kriya Yoga is extremely ancient tradition, and I'm very happy that the last couple of centuries is becoming more and more famous, especially in the Western world. And origin of the Kriya Yoga are actually Himalayan masters. We may mention a few names which are also quite famous as well, as Mahavatar Babaji and Gorakhnath. And of course, as we discussed with you a few days back, it's a very extremely, actually quite difficult point about these masters, that they are physically immortal. And normally when we speak about this, the source of Kriya Yoga, we have to mention about great Himalayan masters, and when we speak about them, we have to mention that they are physically immortal. And this is the very special about this Kriya Yoga tradition, that the source is very unusual. I mean to say that the meditation of Kriya Yoga created not by me, not by my guru, or by any normal, so-called normal human being, but is the source are highly advanced yogis from Himalayas. And when we speak about Mahavatar Babaji or Gorakhnath, the huge question is, are they real? Are they like real personalities, or is it just a mythological somebody? And I respect the opinion of the people, and I don't want to prove that Mahavatar Babaji is a real guru. And what I mean to say that, okay, if for somebody is more comfortable to think, to accept that, okay, Babaji is just mythological somebody, it's okay, perfectly okay. It's like a fairy tale, okay, let it be. But at the same time, according to my vision and according to actually to the Kriya Yoga tradition, all that highly advanced masters, they're quite physically living on this planet Earth, and they're quite historical personalities. Who are living, who are staying on this planet Earth for millenniums, and we can't even say exactly the age of these highly advanced yogis and the gurus. And for sure, our Western logical mind wish to touch everything, to believe. We have to touch, to see, and then we can believe.
Yeah.
But it's extremely difficult to meet Mahavatar Babaji or Gorakhnath, and only a small circle of highly advanced disciples may meet them. And if to speak about my life, actually, I'm practicing at the moment Kriya Yoga for nearly, more than 30 years. And actually, I met my guru, whose name was Yogi Ramayach, in the beginning of 90s. But when I met my guru, already at that time, I was involved in the Kriya Yoga tradition for more than 10 years. Anyway, my main guru, what we call in Sanskrit root guru, root means Mula guru in Sanskrit, and the root guru is in English, so it's like the main guru in Kriya Yoga is Yogi Rama. He was born 1923 and he passed away in 2006. And I was fortunate enough to spend with him more than 10 years in his South Indian ashram, and he authorized me to teach Kriya Yoga. Actually, what was special about my guru, of course, he was a sage, extremely wise person, by the way, with supernatural powers as well. Maybe supernatural powers is not something really important. Of course, for me was more important his wisdom than ability to create any miracles. to perform any miracles. But what was special about him, that he was direct disciple of Mahavatar Babaji and Gorakhnath. So, and he himself, Yogi Rama, he spends he spent maybe I'm not sure, but a few years in Himalayas. It was the 50s, and then in the 60s he spent quite a number of years in Himalayas in a cave ashram of Babaji, and he actually learned Kriya Yoga from these great masters directly, and that was of course great chance for me, like to learn Kriya Yoga techniques and philosophy and mantras and meditations directly from Yogi Rama, who was like the link to this immortal yogis. And actually we have a lot of witnesses and a lot of facts, just historical facts about real existence of these masters, and the situation that we can't meet them easily. It can't be confusion for us. But anyway, you know, in our modern world, in our modern esoteric tradition, we have so many spiritual systems, and people sometimes can be even confused. Okay, what to choose? What is bad? What is genuine? What is not? What is original? And of course, my advice is just you know, feel your heart, feel your intuition. Normally, logic will not help you to find out what is the best way of meditation, but anyway, the intuition may. And the history of Kriya Yoga is extremely important, and that fact that the source is very unusual is extremely important. And normally I advise to the people to read, of course, the greatest book about Kriya Yoga, most famous book, the autobiography of a yogi, written by Yogananda Paramahamsa. He published this book in 1946, and since that time this book is a really esoteric bestseller about, you know, meditation, yoga, Vedic tradition, self-development, and this is really great book to read. And you know, I myself not only read this book, but I keep on rereading it. And this is not a book, you know, to read it one time then push it aside. I know quite a lot of people who just keep on reading this book again and again, because this is just autobiography. Yes, and by the way, beautiful literature. You may enjoy a lot of very interesting, exciting stories about life of Yogananda himself and his gurus. But at the same time, if you will read this book carefully, you may notice that a lot of valuable, precious information about self-development, about meditation, about inner world. It's actually like really how to do book. I mean, it's not just entertainment with the stories, but a lot of important information for any spiritual practitioner. And by the way, this book is of course important for us because exactly this book was the first one through which Western people came to know about Mahavatar Babaji, and it's happened, as I mentioned, in 1946. And Yogananda himself was also direct disciple of Babaji, and he met him actually quite a number of times, but in his book he's like describing only one story about his meeting with Babaji, but from oral tradition we know that actually he met him quite many times. And also Yogananda gives us a lot of real stories, real facts, like different high-level yogis and practitioners may meet Babaji, and so it means this the fact of his physical existence is, for me, is obvious, absolutely obvious. But anyway, what is special about Kriya Yoga as the system of meditation? Well, in our school we prefer to teach people original Kriya Yoga, and so normally I want to emphasize this because Kriya Yoga is advanced course. I mean to say you have to be able to visualize things. I mean, chakras and the channels. You must be more sensitive in a mystical, meditative sense of the word. So, but anyway, now we have quite a lot of Kriya Yoga schools, and by the way, I respect them, but they are trying to abridge the Kriya Yoga. I mean, to give some part of Kriya Yoga simplified. And what is special about our school, that we are not doing such a things. And I want to repeat, I respect if some other Kriya Yoga teachers or even schools, they emphasize that they're teaching people like abridged or simplified kind of Kriya Yoga, and if some practitioners they're free to choose, and if they wish to practice more simple kind of Kriya Yoga, why not? Anyway, better to practice something than not to practice at all. So it means if somebody is not interested in original form of Kriya Yoga, it's also okay, because even simple, some parts of Kriya Yoga, what is may help in many sense, but in our tradition we still keep on original form. For me, as the Kriya Yoga teacher, is the huge question and a very big task to teach people, complicated and quite difficult techniques, but in such a simple way so that people may understand and practice. So this is a job for me. This is my specialty, and that's what is my job.
Sviatoslav, could you tell us about your meeting with Yogi Ramayach, and why did he choose you, and did he have a group that time when you met him?
Okay, actually, I came to India for the first time. It was 1993, and as I mentioned previously, in that time I practiced meditation and some aspects of Kriya Yoga for more than 10 years. And actually, I'm a writer. I'm writing books about Kriya Yoga, and normally, in my books, I never mention techniques, because techniques you have to learn from masters, from during master classes, workshops, seminars, and I'm giving normally 3 days programs, and this is the best and the proper way, better to say, to learn techniques. By the way, sometimes I make videos about techniques like that. It's possible to use media of video, but in the books better just mention about stories. Okay, and my meeting with my guru Yogi Ramayach was absolutely spontaneous and a kind of miracle for me, because I just went to India for the first time with a group of my new friends at that moment, and I even didn't know where I'm going. Just on the way from Moscow to India, they told me, okay, we're going to participate in a certain program, and this is the picture of the guru. His name is Yogi Ramayach, and I thought, okay, very nice, why not to take part? And when I came to his ashram, and actually he established, I think, maybe 2 or 3 small ashrams in the South Indian state of Tamil Nadu, and also he established 2 or 3 ashrams in the United States, one of them in Arizona state and another one in New York City. And actually Yogi Ramayach was kind of hidden guru, a little bit keeping himself secretly from the public. It's difficult to say why, but anyway, that was his life mission. That's what we have to accept. Because he was direct disciple of the great Himalayan masters, maybe his life mission was to work with a small group of disciples and not to publicize him, not to become famous. And so that's the reason why actually during his life he was not really famous. But the last few years he becoming really more and more famous, and some disciples from Canada, from the United States, from India, by the way, me also, we're writing books about him, we're doing different kinds of seminars according to his tradition, and he's becoming more famous after actually he passed away. So, but that was his mission. That's how it was. And Actually, when I came to his ashram for the first time, for me it was a great surprise because, oh, how nice! I know about the autobiography of a yogi, I know about Kriya Yoga, and so nice coincidence, let us say, or better to say, divine will, that I came to the first ashram in India. And that was Kriya Yoga ashram, and so unique guru whom I met from the very beginning. And of course, the Kriya Yoga tradition is actually great masters are telling us that okay, it's not possible to meet Kriya Yoga or Kriya Yoga master or Kriya Yoga techniques without a certain karmic connection from the past lives.
Yeah, this is very
and it may looks like spontaneous. It may looks like our choice even. Okay, for example, some people may say, okay, I choose to go and participate in certain seminar, master classes, workshops. That's my choice, but this is not your choice. I mean, even if you got this feeling, this some intuition telling you that, oh yeah, I have go and join. This itself is it is a meaning that you have some karmic connection from your past lives. And great masters like Lahiri Mahasaya, Lahiri Baba, and my Guru Yogi Rama, they always emphasize that just do not think that you came to Kriya Yoga just because of your wish, your will, your decision. Not at all. It means you are ready. And it's not the point that we have to feed our ego that we're so great, etc. Not at all. It's just a fact, first of all, and then it is also kind of responsibility. If you got a chance to meet so highly advanced techniques, better to use them. Otherwise, you can lose the chance, and who knows next lifetime what will happen. Anyway, when I met Yogi Rama for the first time, it was very interesting that it was a feeling that I know this old guy, for ages. I mean, when I came to his ashram, I was something like 21 years old, and he was more than 70. But it was like the feeling that, okay, he's like my father, or maybe just very good friend. But you know
him all your life, yeah?
Yes, and he, from the very first moment when he met me, he communicated with me the way like, okay, we just know each other for ages, and he immediately gave me a certain work to do in the ashram, and it was such a feeling like, okay, not that I came for the first time, but just I'm staying here for years, and it was very much home feeling. Yeah, and as I mentioned, Yogi Rama, he was interesting to work with a small circle of the disciples, and his disciples were mostly from India and the United States of America, and also a few disciples from Russia as well. Of course, some people from Australia, from UK, but mostly because he established maybe 2 or 3 very, very small ashrams in the South Indian area and a couple of ashrams in the States. So naturally, most disciples were from India and the States. And actually during his lifetime, he initiated into different aspects of Kriya Yoga just 2,000 people. I want to say that it's an extremely small number of people. Actually, he started to teach in little bit in the 50s and the 60s, but mostly his classes started in 1968 when he shifted to the United States. By the way, second half of his life he lived in the United States. He was American citizen, so it means and since that time he started really his classes. And 2,000 students, it's a really very small number, and most of that students, he taught them only basic preliminary techniques, and I even don't know how many of his students learned complete Kriya Yoga system, maybe 10 or 15 or 20. I just imagine how small is the number. And Maybe 5 years before he passed away, he authorized me to teach, and actually it was very interesting because for me Kriya Yoga at that time, now too of course, that time was so highly precious techniques, highly, you know, something beyond my dreams, and for me it was kind of shock that when he blessed me and gave permission to teach. And my first reaction was, no, Yogi Master, I can't do this, just not possible for me. But he told me, don't worry, and just in a few years you will be ready to teach. And it's interesting that actually I started to teach people Kriya Yoga actually 10 years later, after he gave me permission. But it was very important for me to get this permission to be authorized, because in the Kriya tradition we are very strict about that, because you know, it's always better to you know, not just to proclaim, okay, I am a Kriya Yoga master. And by the way, in the modern Kriya Yoga tradition we have this problem, because quite many people just proclaim, okay, we have Kriya Yoga tradition, we have Kriya Yoga center, but the big question is, okay, if you are Kriya Yoga master, better to ask from whom you got these techniques, who authorized you to teach. So because Kriya Yoga is not like somebody's fantasy, it's a tradition, very ancient, and to teach Kriya Yoga you have to be a part of this tradition. And I think it's very important to know that in the Kriya Yoga we have a lot of schools. Actually, even I can't say how many, maybe 50, maybe 80 different schools of Kriya Yoga. And most of them are original and real Kriya Yoga traditions. Some of them may be created by somebody's imagination, but I mean to say that also we have to respect and accept the fact that we have quite a lot of Kriya Yoga schools and traditions. They are different, and it means the techniques are also different. For example,
but we respect.
And because you know, it's like you can take any kind of tradition like Kabbalah or Tai Chi. There is no any Kabbalah. There are many Kabbalah traditions in the school. There are many Tai Chi schools, and so what?
Yeah.
Okay, we respect it.
Different practice, maybe.
Different approaches. So it means what I teach is just one of them.
Well, thank you very much for this interesting interview, for the interesting information.
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions, and I hope we will make another interview.
Yes, and discuss all
the rest. And also I would like to say, our guest, if you did not subscribe to our channel, please do it, because we will have a lot of more interesting video about techniques of Kriya Yoga, about information Kriya Yoga, about school of Kriya Yoga. And thank you very much, Sviatoslav.
So, thank you for having me. Thank you very much. See you.
See you. Bye bye.